Hello, welcome to the Crusader von Huygens show. This episode will be covering some of the things I have noticed about the modern atheist movement that I think fellow Christians should also know. I hope to be able to share my insights on this issue. Also, sorry about the lighting. It's a new place, I just moved, and I will get it worked out in a little bit. The first thing that I noticed about the modern atheists is that some of them seem to believe that atheism is the default position. What they mean by atheism being the default position is that it is the starting position and one does not need to prove that atheism is true. As a philosopher, I have trouble with any position being the default position, and I do not know of any other subject where there is a default position for that claim. Look at how badly physics suffered when Aristotle was regarded as the default correct position. I just assume that people start with no opinion as their default position until they gain enough data to formulate a stance on the subject. I think there's two major reasons why atheists support this default position nonsense. First, if you've seen my video on refuting arguments for atheism, you would know that arguments for atheism are rather lacking, and I think this is a deflection for some people. Second, I think there's a sizable amount of self-proclaimed atheists that do not understand the difference between atheism and modern agnosticism. From the American Heritage Dictionary, atheism is disbelief in or denial of the existence of God, and neoclassical agnosticism is a theory that does not deny but denies the possibility of knowing Him, that is God. But I noticed the word has evolved to merely mean to be unsure about the existence of the divine. Now, disbelief is the refusal or reluctance to believe in something. So, atheism is not a neutral position, but a negative claim, because it refuses and denies a positive claim. Thus, unlike someone who does not have an opinion on a subject, atheism is an argument, and many of them promote a negative claim and need to provide support for that claim. I am unsure of Bigfoot's existence. I do not need to prove and provide reasons why I'm unsure about it, but if I state that Bigfoot does not exist, I do need to provide proof and reasons why he does not exist. I cannot stress the major importance of having atheists abandon this belief that atheism is the default position. If any position on any subject gains the status of being the default position, then that side of the argument will gain a massive advantage against all other viewpoints because of two factors. First, they do not need to provide the validity of their argument. Thus, they can only offer counterpoints and win the argument. If in a debate you never attack the other person's position, then that other person will most likely win that debate, even if you answer all their counterclaims. Second, given that most debates are done on the inductive inference and reasoning basis, the holder of the default position can merely raise their threshold of accessibility to absurd levels of absolute certainty to win any debate. Or, in more plainer words, many arguments are done on the basis that the superior argument is the most likely to be correct and not absolutely certain to be correct. An example would be that undefeated boxing champion Mayweather will most likely beat me in a boxing match, but there is still a slim possibility that I could still win. We could say with a very high confidence that I will lose this hypothetical boxing match, but we cannot say with absolute certainty that I would win. Thus, let's say a skeptic, or Mayweather a skeptic, could say that there's insufficient evidence that I will lose this fight. The holder of a default position can merely keep raising the bar of acceptance under the veil of skepticism and essentially win the argument every single time. As Christians, we need to have atheists abandon their default position nonsense if we hope to have any chance in converting them. The second thing I would like to mention is that modern atheism offers a strong sense of community. The atheist community is generally welcoming to newcomers and forms a camaraderie with these new atheists. The atheist community is generally unified and internal strife is rare. This means that atheists tend to have emotional connection and bond to the greater atheist community and acts defensively if it's attacked. In addition, their friendships and cultural attachment makes them harder to convert because they will fear that they lose that part of their identity in their friendships. Some atheist factions are quite hostile to religions and will even attack ex-atheists who were once their friends. A Christian should factor in that atheists might not want to lose their friendships if they convert and act accordingly. Third thing, and the most likely disputed aspect of modern atheists that I noticed is that a sizable portion of them seem to be anti-theists. For those who don't know what anti-theism is, anti-theists are people who may or may not necessarily believe in the divine, but have an emotional aversion or hatred towards theism. In other words, they hate the Lord God, theism, Christian living, and religion in general. One does not need to be an atheist to be an anti-theist, but most of them actually are that. Anti-theist hatred of religion tends to be more on the emotional level and less on the logical level. An example of this would be that the Holy Bible said mean things to my homosexual friend, or that Christians are judgmental bigots and such, and that is the source of their anti-theism. When I looked into atheist arguments, I noticed that the most popular atheist argument, the problem evil, is not actually an atheist argument, but more of an anti-theism one. The problem of evil is not so much an argument against the existence of a divine, but more on saying that if he did exist, he must be bad because he hasn't gotten rid of evil. Additionally, the conviction that religion is holding the war back and science and needs to be destroyed is another example of anti-theism. If in your conversation with these people you notice a deep-seated hatred and anger about Christianity, then they're most likely anti-theism. Not all atheists are anti-theists, and though most anti-theists tend to be atheists. A Christian needs to be able to deal with anti-theist deep-seated hatred before they can effectively convert them to Christianity. I hope you found some of this information useful. This is just some of the things I've noticed, and if you notice any others, then comment them down below. Regardless, I hope you have a great day, and may the Lord God bless you all. Bye, and thank you for watching this video.